And now on BBIC TV1, it's Yesterday's News Today with Stanley Bones.
Hello and welcome to YNT, Yesterday's News Today, and the headlines. Keir Starmer's response to toddlers coming up to 10 Downing Street saying they can do a better job than him.
I am sick and tired of 4-year-olds arriving in reception, some reading quite well, others virtually in nappies.
And the reason why there is a new hot tub in the White House.
Now, whose idea was this?
My idea. Everything's my idea.
Everything's your idea, okay.
Sadly.
But our top story is this. The UK has over 10 million immigrants and asylum seekers. The government is planning to move them to one location to keep them all in the same place. Now, the city that's been chosen is Lincoln. Here's Bob Ferdinand with the full report. I'm here in Lincoln. Busy high street, which everybody recognises the shops. But Lincoln's tourism has been dwindling over the last 50 years. In fact, Lincoln is the lowest in the UK in bringing tourists in. First thing is, nobody knows where Lincoln is, or how to get here, or even if it exists. And that is why the government have decided to choose Lincoln as the place they're going to close down and demolish. I asked some of the locals what they thought of the proposed plan.
And it's really massively fucking stupid.
That's a bit of an old one, but obviously it's rubbish, isn't it?
Yeah, there's nothing we can do to stop it. It doesn't feel like it. There's protests going on down the road.
But if not here, where would you put the immigrants?
Yeah, another planet if possible, yeah. Anywhere else but here.
I think it's been a bad idea, actually.
Oh, a terrible idea.
Terrible idea?
Terrible idea, yeah.
It doesn't look good for Lincoln. But not everyone was aware of the government's plan. This elderly Hindu, all they cared about was getting pissed. Those that live here have been told they've got 6 months to relocate to outer villages or to nearby cities like Nottingham or Sheffield. It's not clear what will happen to the cathedral, but potentially it might be demolished and turned into flats for the immigrants to live. And in a few months' time, this city will be a ghost town and the immigrants will move in. My name's Bob for YNT. Back to you in the studio. Thank you, Bob. Andrew, the royal formerly known as Prince Andrew, not to be confused with the artist formerly known as Prince, has come out with a statement claiming that his incident with Virginia Giuffre in the early 2000s, where he was accused of sexual offence, he has come out with a statement saying that it could have been me that done it. I never did anything like that because I am homosexual. Or he was a homosexual at the time. He's claiming now that he's no longer homosexual, but at the time he was, so he couldn't have done it to the girl. Kim Johnson, our reporter, caught up with one of Andrew's former schoolmates to find out the full story. Hello, my name's Kim Johnson from YNT News. I'm going to see one of Prince Andrew's former classmates to see if there's any truth behind his statement that he was homosexual, as maybe at school. He did marry Sarah Ferguson, so there may be some truth behind that. In some cultures, red-headed women are considered men. Anyway, I'm here now, so he wants to have his voice and his face unrecognised, so his voice will be different. Let's see if he's home. Yeah, hello. I'm from YNT.
Yeah. All right, come in.
Okay, thanks.
Come in.
We're going in. So you're a former classmate of Andrew, formerly Prince Andrew.
Yeah, I went to school with Prince Andrew.
Okay, obviously there's a lot of speculation now about whether he may be homosexual at the time. Is there any evidence that he may have been homosexual when you were at school with him as a child?
Well, there was one time when we was in the school gym, and he advised me to do this. He said he'd done it before. He'd have a giant 7-inch cucumber, and what he would do with the cucumber, he would put it up in his.
And we had to cut that feed there. Sorry about that. We'll come back to that later, maybe. Anyway, now onto the sports news, and let's go over to Freddie with the sport. What is it, me? Oh, bloody hell, I'm not with Henry Stanley. Hold on, 1 sec, bloody hell. Jesus Christ. All right, I'm Henry Stanley. Right? Hello. And in sport, Ronnie O'Sullivan has been banned from playing snooker for 40 years after this incident. So Ronnie O'Sullivan and Donald Trump are looking up at the whiteboard to see if it's in line. And then Ronnie says to Trump, why don't you take a closer look? And forces his face to the table, and then suddenly, there you go. And he walks back to his chair, smiling. There you go, look at that. Judd Trump suffered a broken nose, and Ronnie O'Sullivan won't be able to play snooker again for 40 years. So he won't back to it. He'll be 90 years old by the time he comes back. Anyway, in football, the footballing world was shocked today at the England-Serbia press conference when Thomas Tuchel replied to a simple question. Here's the footage.
4 games now before you have to name your squad. These are the last 2 competitive matches. Is the time for experimentation over, do you think?
Fuck off, you twat! I'm not experimenting at all, dickhead! But piss off, Bernstein, shithead, prick!
So it turns out Thomas Tuchel has Tourette's, and nobody knew. Apparently, Thomas Tuchel's Tourette's trauma happened when he was a child, but he's been on medication, and that's why it's been okay. But that medication's not working anymore. And the profanities didn't stop there. Even at England's training session, Thomas Tuchel couldn't hold back.
Okay, shitheads, listen up. Play the ball to this cunt, Harry Kane. He will score a fucking lot of goals, and we will will against Serbia. Are you listening, dickheads? Now go run around the pitch, you useless wankers. Keep running, you cunts. You at the back, get a fucking move on, you wanker. What are you fucking laughing at, Rashford, you twat?
Incredible, incredible. What's he going to do if England lose? Bloody hell. Anyway, that's the sport for now. Back to you, Stanley. Thank you, Freddie. And apparently we can go back to Kim's story where there was apparently a misunderstanding. Let's go back to Kim. I don't know.
He would put it up in his.
Hey, hold on.
No, you got it wrong now. Oh. He would put it in his sandwiches.
Okay.
He would put it in his sandwiches to help him not sweat. Apparently it stopped him sweating during the sports day and stuff. Yeah. What do you think it was going to be?
Sweating, yeah. Okay.
But I couldn't say if he was gay or not, I don't know.
Okay, thanks. So there you go. There's a little bit of evidence, or not. So that's me, Kim Dobson, from YNT News. Back to you in the studio. You can go now.
Oh, thanks. Very nice.
Thanks.
I'll take this off now, yeah.
Well, there you go. Anyway, on to other stories. Now, there was a story at the moment that people called Bill have been floating in the sky over the last year or so. The reason for this is because of Labour. So I caught up with our Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, to find out why and what's going on. So, Prime Minister, I have a question for you. Ever since you've come into power 14 months ago, people called Bill have started floating into the sky. Since you came into power, so what are you going to do about that?
Obviously, we have got a scheme in place to bring bills down for millions of families, not everybody, I accept, and we will do other measures to bring those bills down.
Yes, but you've had 14 months and nothing's been done about it. They're still floating in the sky and you haven't done anything about it, Prime Minister.
I appreciate that, and our job is to bring them down. That's why we're taking the measures to bring those bills down.
Well, you say that, but the proof will be in the pudding if they eventually come back down to earth. Yes. And also, there's a woman called Rhonda. Rhonda's husband has been up there for at least 10 months. What do you say to her?
Well, I say to Rhonda that I absolutely understand the pressures that are bearing down on her, and I'm determined to change that.
Right, well, we'll see what you do, won't we? We'll see what you do.
Thank you so much.
Back to me in the studio. There you go. Hello, me. Fantastic. And now, here's Frankie with the forecast of news. Thank you, Stanley. I'm ready, unlike Freddie. And I'm forecasting the news and sport for the next 7 days. In the news and sport next week is this. Keir Starmer responds to the new Peppa Pig episode.
Daddy, why do we let the immigrants into our country?
Because we're fucking idiots, Peppa.
Well, I do think that it's a racist policy. I do think it's immoral. It needs to be called out for what it is.
Controversial, I know. And Donald Trump finally admits why he's renovated the White House.
People, we are going to build a Death Star. It is going to be a really big Death Star. And we are going to have thousands of stormtroopers working there. Make the Empire great again.
And the forecast for the football tonight, England to win 2-0 against Serbia and Scotland to win 1-0 against Greece. Yeah. No, there's no chance of that, no. I'm going England draw and Scotland to win 2-0. What are you talking about, Freddie? No chance of that. Well, I'll tell you what, if you're right, I'll take a forfeit. If I'm right, you take a forfeit. All right. Remember that time I did I'm a Celebrity? Yeah. I had to eat that kangaroo's menstrual cycle. If I win, that's what you've got to do. All right, Freddie, but if I'm right, you've got to eat cow's vagina. All right. Kangaroo's vagina. Cow's vagina, not kangaroo. It's a bet then, game on. I'm contracted to say that in the interest of fairness, other animal genitalia is available. Anyway, I've got another segment, Freddie, to finish off. Carry on. Thank you. Well, that was the forecast, but did you know that on this day in 1987, Kenneth Baker passed a law that it was illegal to beat children in school? Here's what Kevin Keegan thought about it.
I've kept really quiet, but I'll tell you something. He went down in my estimation when he said that. We have not resorted to that, but I'll tell you, you can tell him now, I'll be watching it. I'll tell you, honestly, I will love it if we beat them. Love it.
Brilliant, Frankie. I remember that. And we're just getting news just in that apparently some A-list celebrities like Richard Gere, Orlando Bloom have bought properties in Lincoln. That's the place at the top of the programme where the immigrants were supposed to be going. We're going to go across to Bob now and speak to Bob and see what's going on. Bob, can you hear me? Yes, Stanley, breaking news is that Richard Gere has opened his shop here to try and increase tourism back into Lincoln. Not just that, Orlando Bloom down the street and Greg Wallace, I should say, remember him? He's also opened his shop here too to increase tourism back into Lincoln. So maybe it won't be Lincoln that the government chooses to close down after all this. Back to you in the studio. Right, well that's fantastic. That's fantastic news for Lincoln. They might be saved, and I've also got information here that potentially Hunter from the Gladiators, remember him? He's bought a fish and chip shop, apparently in Lincoln. And also we've got Jamie Lee Curtis. She's bought a bakery, apparently. So Lincoln may be saved. And maybe the immigrants will move to Skegness or somewhere, or Sheffield or Nottingham or some other rubbish city, who knows. Anyway, let's go to the news where you are. Hello, my name's Conor McCafferty for YNT News, the news where you are. But there is no news where you are, where we are, or where they are. No news at all, no? There's no news, Stanley. There's no news, there's nothing at all. We'll let you know if there's some news, okay? But for now, we haven't got anything. So, back to you. No news here. Back to you. Okay, no news, no? Okay, well then, no news. Well, That's it for this week's edition. And it's goodbye from me, Stanley Bones. Goodbye from him, him, and him. You've been watching YNT News. Yesterday's news today. The news that never grows old. Till next time, goodbye.